one of the things that will definitely help our community to get to where we want to see our community is having conversations, is having conversations, as many as possible of them. Talking about things that are important, talking about things that are relevant, talking about things that are going to create change. Now, having conversations is one thing. Who you're having the conversations with, I think, is the most important. And that's one thing we have decided we're going to be doing on Toridi. That's one thing we have been doing. In as much as these people are busy, in as much as these people have really tight schedules, we do everything possible to want to bring them on our platform. A good reason why you want to watch them, you want to listen to them talk, and not just listen to them talk on Toridi, but follow them on all social media platforms that you can imagine. People are paying millions and millions of dollars to have these people speak at seminars, speak at events. Why are you not benefiting from the fact that they are offering free for us? I'll bring in my boss, my brother. Um, excuse me, guys. I don't know what's happening. If I'm catching cold or something, I hope so. I hope not. But I'll bring in my brother, and then we'll continue the conversation. Boss,
Yeah.
welcome.
Excited to be here. Excited. How are we doing?
By the way, I like your T-shirt. CHN Advisors. I like the way it's stitched and everything. Shows how professional the brand is. Shows how intentional the brand is. And these are the type of things I keep telling people every day in our community. We need to start following persons like you who have decided they're not only going to start something and build, but then they're setting a blueprint for our kids tomorrow to emulate. We've not done shows for some time now. So what's been happening? What's been happening with you, especially family life?
I mean, family has been great. I want to thank you for the great introduction. I don't want to place myself as a pace setter here. I think there are lots of people out there who are doing amazing things. The point is, they just don't. What we need more from them is to come out and be able to express those things so that people can also learn from them and be able to do them, but not only do them for now, but sustain them and also build our own legacies. It is so important for us to build a legacy for our next generations. Um, Coming to what has been happening, I think we've been very busy. CHN Advisors has been all over the place trying to set um, its own imprints on what the community is doing. We have been moving around, having conferences with a couple of different companies and a couple of different associations that invite us to come and talk to them, to come and help them see how they can also structure their estates. Because I tell people all the time that the key is in structure. I mean, and what we see at times is that we get too excited in our communities. We want to do it immediately, but it takes time to make these things happen. You have to be patient, but you have to be consistent. But the key is in setting up your structure right, and that's what we've been moving around doing with our within our community. And our family is doing great. My wife is doing great. The kids are doing wonderful. Thanks for asking.
Wow. I've been on your social media and we've seen pictures, we've seen videos, we've seen a lot happening. Tell us more, especially about the trip to California.
Yeah, California was an event. We had this. They were doing innovations in dermatology, and
Mhm.
innovations in dermatology. It pulled together a lot of people who have developed certain things in dermatology that are today working, that are today in the marketplace. Some of the things we see on different social media about how you can fix your skin, how you have rashes, things like, some of those products that we have in the market. We go V, we have things like, I mean, I can't remember some of the brands that were there. There were so many brands that were there, but the organizers actually invited us because they wanted us to speak to this community. It's a large community of dermatologists in America. That's an area where um, you get to meet the people who are helping us with helping our skin and do things. So we were there to speak to them. We traveled, we were in California for 3 days, and those 3 days we had events upon events talking to these people and teaching them on how to structure the estates, how they too can win in the American dream. Most of those people are people who pay taxes in hundreds, millions of dollars. So it was a great event, and I thought it was a real game changer for what we're trying to do in our communities. Yes.
Boss, now one thing I know is you started with our immediate community. You started with maybe the Houston area and then the Texas area. And I've noticed, or we have noticed, that you're moving out of Texas, you're visiting other states and things like that. Why do you think that's important? Or why do you think it's important for you to not only stay within where you started, but also go out there and maybe from the look of things, it seems like you're planning to go international. Why do you think it's important?
Because this is for everybody. What we're talking about is for everybody. It's not constrained to a particular area. It's constrained, it's something that we want to cover we want to cover the whole country. We are already national within the United States. We're doing things nationally. The next thing we want to do is to take it not only nationally, but we want to take it international. And for this year, we've started really well. We've had a couple of events out of our state. In next week, we have another event, which is also out of the state. We're going to speak to real estate professionals who have come together and they wanted us to speak. And we've had so many. I only talk about the larger community ones, the ones that are out of our community, where we have all these Americans who are calling us to come and talk to them about how they too can structure their estates to win. What do we want to do? We want people not only to really live that American dream. America is set up for us to win, for us to be able to take advantage of it, to be able to use what they have in place for us. There are two critical things that America has put in place for us to take advantage of. Number one is the capital market. We have the largest capital market in the world. We should take advantage of it. That's number one. Number two, everything has been concealed in the tax code. It's there inside the tax code. So if you use those two things in America, there is no way you are not going to win. The game is there for everybody. And it's most especially for those who are higher income. They too can win. They too should be able to play the game. And that's what we're trying to do. We're moving around, talking to people, and we're getting gravitas. We're getting a lot of gravitas, and that's exciting going for now. Yes.
Wow, I was looking at the videos, and it was amazing how when you were actually speaking, the hall was just quiet. People were so attentive. They were taking notes. And before you said, hey, does anyone have a question? I saw so many hands up, and I was like, wow, this is serious. What is that thing about your message that makes you different? That makes every other person that attentive when you start speaking?
Because we have realities. People only hear about realities. People only hear about people who are doing things. We are able to show people that these are the people that are happening. These are the things that are happening. That's number one. Number two, we are taking them. We're basically showing them how we're teaching them. We're teaching people to not only to hear things, but they are getting to learn something that no school will ever teach you. Nobody will ever teach you. And they can see, because we are not talking to people who don't have any intelligence. These are people who have spent about 30 years just going to school. So they know when you're speaking value, when you're telling them what is the truth. We're taking everything from the very complex things and we're making them very simple so that they too can understand that you too can play this game. And that's what is making them very exciting. That's what is making people to listen. You are demonstrating to people that this A and B, this is how it works. These are the tax code. These are the things that you too can do. Not only, the IRS is happy. The government of the United States is happy for me to build the economy. And I show you how to build the economy, how to multiply the money that you were normally giving to Uncle Sam, and use that same tax code to make you avoid taxes off the market, and then build assets If you were to take $100,000 and give to Uncle Sam, instead of giving that $100,000 to Uncle Sam, you hold it and then decide that I want to acquire, and then you meet people who can help you structure properly using the tax code, and then you instead take that money, acquire an asset with it. What type of asset? You can even invest it in the stock market, and then it multiplies for you by 10 within that same period. You're using all the capital market to multiply that thing, and then the tax code allows you to take that money, to take that thing that you've acquired using other people's money and wipe off your tax bracket. What is that? Why is that not a game changer for any person? It's a game changer. And people can see how this thing it's just simple mathematics. That's why people are getting gravitas. That's why we're getting gravitas. That's why people are calling us to come and explain it to them. So that's the game. That's why people will listen. They will take notes because you're giving them concrete examples coming from the tax code. Nobody teaches you that. Why would you listen? Why would you not listen?
Boss, let me play this video and then I'll ask you my next question.
Amazing.
Wow. Looking at that video, one thing was just going through my mind. The big guys are going to steal this guy from us. The big guys are going to steal this guy from us. I see so many wonderful persons, people we see on national TV, people who are actually making decisions on certain health topics in the country. I see them in that video and I see you hanging out with them. I see them wanting to have conversation with you. The only thing that was going through my mind is this guy is going. Our community, this guy is going. What's your take on that? Do we still have any? Is there any possibility that we can still have you around?
That didn't even come across my mind, but I hear you. The point is this: you know what? In America, the wealthy people work with family offices. Let me repeat that. In America, the wealthy people own family offices. And to get a family office, you have to have the right people. People is the most important thing you don't have.
Yeah.
Having the people who know what you need is the most difficult thing. For any entrepreneur listening to us, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Getting the right people is the most difficult thing. And so what do the wealthy do? They are looking for the right people to take them and work exclusively for them. That's why they call it my family office.
Wow.
Our goal is not to give that to one person. Our goal is not to give that to some 1% it takes us away from doing that for our community. Our goal is to make the middle class in our community, the hardworking people in our community to also do that. But I can hear you. It is common. I heard that conversation so many times. They were asking me to come and relocate to La Jolla, that we should have an office in La Jolla. They wanted all that I should be down there in La Jolla. But again, what are we looking for? We are looking for optimum. Everybody in this community is looking to make a profit out of what they are doing. I am not any different. That's additional thing that we want to do. We also want to serve our community. And it's important that our community understands that we are not coming out here to try just to get things from them. We're coming to serve that community. And if they understood just like these guys do, they will be able to take us to where we want to go. Because that's why we're here. We're communicating. Communication is to make people understand that this game is here for you. You have two things that you can play with. Number one is your taxes. So the first thing I tell people, there are 3 ways to building wealth. The first thing, if your biggest problem
If you are not making income yet, your focus should be, how do I make income?
Income.
Increase the income. And when you make income in America, you have a second problem. And the big problem becomes taxes. Because your money is going away. The time you're making money, you want to invest it, they tell you have to pay taxes. Those guys, most of them, they are paying about 50% of their income in taxes. Almost all of them sitting in that hall. They are paying about 50% of their income in taxes. So you think, what is their biggest problem? Their biggest problem is getting someone who can multiply their wealth. So if you take that 50%, you can basically multiply their wealth overnight. That's why there was so much gravitas. They were pulling towards trying to get everything they can get. And I can tell you, for the past how many weeks since we came back, there has been, we're having meetings upon meetings upon meetings upon meetings on trying to help these people out. And that's our goal. Our goal is to help them do the things that the tax code is asking you to do. And we are excited about that. We want our communities to do it as well. We're not going anywhere. We're here.
The other thing that crossed my mind about watching that video is the fact that it was not just about you. At first, people like me were thinking, once you think CHN advisors, you think Charles Njoya, that is where it ends. And then we are starting to discover that no, it's different. It's more of a team. And then the word family office is popping up here and there. Can you explain better to us what a family office is and why you decide? Because you would have decided, you know what, I'll just go there and do my thing and come back. But no, you decided to move with a team of experts, of professionals. Why is that important?
That's so important. And if you look at my team, you will see that my team is made up of people in our community. It is our community primarily. In this type of game, you will notice that there are not many, first of all, in America. But whenever you see this type of community, it is not people from our community. Those are people who are not from our community. And they have taken it their own. The Jewish have taken this their own. Some of these white guys have it as their own. We are beginning to see one or two people within the African American community. But around them, they still have a lot of different. But our goal is to make this so that our own people like us, who understand the way who we understand, because one of the things that you have is people need to understand you. And most people have this thing where they want somebody they can understand, they can communicate with in their own way. And that's very common, not only in our community, in every community. They want their own people. So we see our goal is to go back to our own people. Why? Because we are the hardest working people in this country. And if we are hardworking people, we should be able to take advantage of what the other people are taking. And that's why it's so important that our community embraces this and implements it. It is so important. Our community needs to embrace this and implement this, because if we do that, we will multiply our wealth in this country. We will generate that power that we need to become influential in America. This is a game changer, and it is the game changer of the wealthy. When you hear of all these other people, family office simply means you have a group of all these people that are needed for you to be able to structure your estate in the best way, and for you to be able to avoid paying taxes altogether and multiply that, use that to multiply your wealth building process. Like I said, if you save $100,000 in taxes in a year, that $100,000 could easily be converted into $1 million in assets. And those $1 million in assets that you just generated, the tax code allows you to take it, cost segregate it, and wipe off your ordinary income taxes with. That is the game of the wealthy. Why is it a problem? Why people don't understand that? That is as simple as ABC. The problem is you have to have the right people to understand it, people who can read the tax code, who can interpret the tax code, and have the right people, the attorneys, the financial advisors, the real estate professionals, the accountants, all these, the CPAs, all these people who are able to do every little bit of that. In our community, what do? We go and look for a tax preparer and we prepare our taxes. And what do? All the money is gone. All the money is gone to Uncle Sam. We cannot be doing that. The wealthy Americans, they don't pay taxes. And tax is the biggest bill. If you make $1 million in California, where we were, you will pay at least $470,000 in taxes. At least $470,000. That's almost 50% of your income. So if you're paying that, why would you not stop and then look for a situation? How do I stop this bleeding? That is why they're excited. They're excited because there's a bleed, and somebody is finally teaching them and telling them that you too can play this game. That is the game. And we showed them that. That's why we went with a team, so that they can see the team. It's not a one person. If you go to one person can tell you I can do ABC, they cannot do it. It's a teamwork. Otherwise, you get yourself into the hands of the IRS. That's the problem. So that's why we want to show them that there's a team behind it. It's not Charles. And if you see, I have been pushing all these things. CHN Advisors is bigger than Charles, far bigger than Charles Njoya.
Boss, let me play this other video and then I'll ask you my next question.
The Innovations and Dermatology meeting in San Diego was a blast. It was actually a blast. I mean, we had the chance to meet with some of the best, the creme de la creme when it comes to dermatology. And these guys, these are guys who are doing an amazing, amazing stuff to help us be who we are. And we don't just know a lot about dermatology. It's one of those things that we tend to know about our skin. We have to take care of this. But it's not until you meet these guys and you have to talk with them in a room full of them. Was an amazing event, and it was just mwah. So if you wasn't there, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about, how it went, and you want to take advantage of it.
Yes.
Boss.
Yes.
Now, this was a group of, like I said, top medical people in America, in our community, and they were discussing issues that were so important. Like the caliber of people I saw out there, I was like, wow. Now, and CHN Advisors was, I think, the only speaker or was the only group of persons who were not healthcare related that was allowed to speak in such an event. Was that because these people consider money matters, money-making decisions as important also as health issues?
If not, it is. Yeah, it is as important. It is very important. Everybody, let me tell you what, most 90% of the people, 99% of people are here to create a legacy for themselves. The reason people go to all these top schools and come out is because they want to make a better life for their community. And a better life, whatever you do, there is compensation for what you do. You feel aggrandized, you feel fulfillment. You get some fulfillment from being able not only to do what you do, but to be able to live on what you do. These guys are doing what they are doing. They are at the top of their game. The next thing they want to do is to be also able that when they retire, they can retire early and live another life, which is, if not better than the life they are living now. What better can they think about? They think about their finances. The only one thing they don't teach you in every school, whether you're going to accounting or any school in America, the only one thing they don't teach you is managing your own money. They don't teach you how to manage money. Go to Harvard and stay there for 20 years. You come out, you don't know how to manage your own money. Somebody has to. And that is something that is done voluntarily. They know what they are doing. Why? Because if you think about what is happening in this country, you think about everybody who is in Washington, who is making the laws, is been put there by some top 1%, some what they call some capitalists, and they go there to work to make sure that the capitalist interests are taken care of. That's why for people who are passive, every time you use effort to work, you use your intelligence to work. Whenever you do that, what happens to you? You're paying a lot in taxes, a lot. It's called ordinary activity income. It's called operating income. But get passive income, dividend, capital gains, all those things, they have the least amount of taxes. And those taxes that you use from assets don't pay taxes in America. So if you are wealthy, you don't pay taxes. So now, how do you convert that income? They've separated the meaning of income from the meaning of wealth. Wealth is completely different from income. So what is wealth? Wealth is that guy who has a lot of assets, He has all these capital. He has everything put there. He has businesses that are running out of him. All those things, they are called wealth. Your net worth, your net assets. Another name for net worth is net assets. Now, there's another name called income. Income is that guy who's working and earning money. You're paying him. And generally, those people who own wealth. They are the ones who are paying people who have income. So when you pay income to these guys, what do? Most of their income is coming, their money is coming from operating activity income, ordinary activity income. That means you are operating, you're putting effort. And anything you put effort in pays a lot of taxes, a lot. Passive activity tend to pay very little, or you are easily pushing them to the people who are using those assets. If you understand that concept, then the game now is, how do I structure? If I'm already making money, I need to structure. If I structure, then I'll be playing like that guy who is wealthy. Now I'm using my money to add the wealth and then leave. Wealthy people, they live on debt. What do they live on? They live on debt. Wealthy people have a lot of money seated in life insurance and some policies where they can just go and move it and live on it without paying any taxes. But their assets are worth a lot. So your goal should be, how do I multiply those assets? And that is what the wealthy, that's what those people have realized. That's what they want to do. That's what they are doing. That's why they need people like us to come and teach them, because nobody teaches them how those things work. You have to give them through. You have to make it very simple so everybody can understand it. Wow. And that's why they were excited. That's why they wanted to talk to us. That's why they were always looking for us to talk about these things, because that's their biggest problem. Look at the balance sheet of anybody who's making over 200,000. The biggest thing on this income statement is taxes. So how do you stop? If you stop those taxes, then you immediately get all the money that you need to invest, and you leverage other people's money, which is called the capital market. And then you multiply your wealth. You can retire early. You can do all those things that you've not been able to do. That is exciting. I am excited by what I do.
Boss, I'll play one last video and then ask you a question, and then we're probably going to end the show. Yes. Let me see which one to play. Let me see.
I worked for PwC for 17 years. And PwC basically helps the largest companies in the world and the most affluent people in the world. What do they help them do? They help them to structure. Because nobody goes into the market to do business to pay money to Uncle Sam. So it's all about structure. If you're not helping me save money, I don't need you. I worked for PwC for 17 years, and I was an associate partner.
Plus, this video, when you were talking, the way they were attentive, the way they were taking notes, the way they were just listening, and I was looking at these people, I was like, okay, this one looks like they're making 2 million. This one looks like they're making 5 million. This one looks like they're making 7 million. These are wealthy people who I don't know how to put it. But my question was going to be, what is the tomorrow? Is it going to end with that event, or do you have other speaking engagements that are coming up?
We have a lot of speaking engagement coming up. In 2 weeks, we are going to go to. In 2 weeks, there's an event in the south of Texas. We're going to how do they call this place? Harlingen, mm-hmm. And then we have another event that's coming up in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. Then we're going back to California in July. Mm-hmm. So we have, and then there are so many smaller events that we have here and there that are all put on calendar. If you go to my website, you'll start seeing, because now I've told my team to put my calendar on the website so people can start seeing what we're doing and how it is impacting people. There's a lot of things that have been that have been lined up, and we are excited because we are going somewhere. We are not here. We are not where we are yet, but I can clearly see that within the next 3 to 5 years, this company is going to be a completely different company. And that is the whole reason why we don't sleep. We work too hard. We get here earlier than everybody, and then we leave here later than everybody. We sacrifice our families to make sure we're doing certain things. We're not, I don't mean sacrificing, we're sacrificing time. You buy time by investing in time. We are investing in time. And once we've invested in this time and have done what we want to do, my goal, I've told you this so many times, my goal is just to be moving around and speaking. That's my most important thing. That's my goal. Within the next 1 year or two, I will not be sitting in this office. Within the next few months, I will not. And that is what we started this year. This year is all about speaking, going out there, sensitizing people, helping people to understand how the system, and then we have a team that is doing the work. That's how we buy time. And time is the most important commodity. Yes.
Thank you very, very much for this 30 minutes. It's actually worth $1 million. We'll schedule another rendezvous for Monday. But before that, maybe we'll talk behind the scenes. And by the way, for anybody who is watching, Charles Njoya, you can check him out on all social media platforms, Charles Njoya or CHN Advisors. A lot of content. They are uploading a lot of free content that you can benefit from. But if you don't feel like that free content is enough for you, go to their website, book a free consultation meeting. If that is not good enough for you, a one-on-one is what you need. Go ahead and do that. I know what I'm talking about. I was in California and I saw the way these big guys were rushing him. Everyone was wanting to pull him to the side to negotiate their own whatever. I was like, damn, this one is gone. Our community is going to miss this one. But now is the time. We still have some time. Let's do our best to exploit him the best we can. And by the way, when I'm talking about our community, you guys should not feel I'm talking about Cameroon or Africa. I'm talking about everyone. Boss, thank you very much. We'll talk later.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, that's it. You guys have seen the pictures. You guys have seen the videos. There's a lot we are going to be uploading in the days to come. Like I said, I was in California. What I saw was something else. I learned one thing. Those people you see who we call rich people, wealthy people, and everything, even the ones that are influential, they're investing in knowledge. Most of them are investing in knowledge. They're investing in people who have value, people who can bring value to whatever they're doing or whoever they are. That is one thing I noticed. After his speech, after he did what he did, the people who wanted to ask questions while he was still on the podium, the people who right after that were dragging him to the side, everybody wanted to have his personal contact. Everybody wanted to have a session. Everybody, like, it was just, I was like, wow. And this is somebody who in our community is doing everything possible to put out free information and we are not taking advantage of. Like I said, wealth is in knowledge. That is the one thing I learned in California. You see how this man was valued. You see how he was treated every step of the way. It is just wow. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Take advantage. Follow him on all social media platforms. Follow him on, go to his website. They are uploading videos on YouTube every second. You want to watch these videos again and again and again. And if for some reason you have questions, you have concerns, you can always contact them. That's it for today. See you guys on Monday for this particular segment, 30 minutes, what $1 million with Charles Njoya. Trust me, you're never going to understand why I named this segment 30 minutes, what $1 million today. But someday you look back and you'll be like, oh, now I know why they decided to call it 30 minutes, what $1 million with Charles Njoya. See you guys on the next one.